What's up, everybody? This is Eric with Team X-Cuse, and I am here today with my BT13 Miragegaogamon deck profile for you guys. This deck I just recently ran at my last locals. It was a 4-round local. I unfortunately got the bye round 1 with an odd number of people showing up for the event. Round 2, we played a Miragegaogamon mirror match. I got that matchup 2-1. Round 3 was a blue flare matchup in which I got 2-0. And round 4, our last matchup of the day, was a Belphimon matchup. Very interesting deck. Did not know too much about it. Was definitely a learning curve for me, learning how to play that matchup and playing the deck. Game 1 was super long, super grindy. Ended up with both players having about 4 or 5 cards left in their deck by end of Game 1. We spent a lot of time in Game 1. I ended up pulling it out by the skin of my teeth. Game 2, they ended up winning, and then Game 3 was into time. We didn't really get to start Game 3 before time was called, so it ended in a 1-1 draw, came down to tiebreakers, and I ended up getting first. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started, and we will start with our 4 eggs. We got 4 Wanyamon. In my opinion, best blue egg in the game right now, so we're running this as a 4 of. When attacking, if you have a blue tamer, you draw a card. We play a lot of blue tamers. We want to draw cards. We're going to run that guy at 4. Next, we have our 4 Galmon. On play, he's revealing top 3, grabbing a card with Galgamon in its name and a blue tamer. Again, we run a good amount of blue tamers. Blue tamers kind of facilitate our plays, so grabbing blue tamers, I'm happy with that. Searching out Galgamon pieces. Good for the deck. Sometimes you're missing things, level 4s, level 5s, level 6s, level 7s. That's grabbing any of those guys. Next, we have our 4 EX4 Galmon. This guy right here is on play. Both players draw the top cards of their decks. Inheritable of gaining a memory when something is bounced. Love the inheritable of this. Both players drawing a card is nice because it will sometimes help you get your opponent up to that 8-card threshold to kind of trigger a lot of your effects. Or if your opponent, or if you do not have a extra Thomas, like the 3-drop Thomas, you can kind of play this for 3 and let both players draw a card, and that kind of lets you continue the facilitation of the burst mode plays, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And also, this card allows you to just hard drop if your opponent has a lot of cards in their hand. Let's say they have like 11 cards in hand. You're playing this, you're gaining your memory off of like a Miragegaogo, which makes this hard drop essentially for free, and then you're gaining 1 or 2 memory off of like this guy's inheritable underneath your Mirage stack or your other level 4 Galgamon inheritable. So sometimes you can gain memory off of just hard dropping this guy. Next, last level 3, running 2 Madoki Betamon. Somewhat of a low rookie count. I'm not mad at it right now, so I'm going to keep playing it with the low rookie count until I'm frustrated that I can't see rookies. Some people are opting for the Vmon in this spot. I can see why. Like I said, we run a lot of blue tamers. Blue tamers facilitate our plays. You want to see the blue tamers. I don't like bottom decking some of my other stuff. Sometimes I'm missing a 5, missing a 4, and I hit that Vmon, and I'm revealing my 4, my 5, whatever I'm missing, and putting it to the bottom of my deck and grabbing a tamer. Not my favorite thing to do. This is nice in the Mirage mirror matches, so this helps out sometimes, forcing them to bounce that instead of something like my level 4, level 5 that's trying to progress my play. Next, we run the 4 of the EX4 Galgamon, returning a level 3 to the opponent's hand when digivolving. If you have the EX4 Galmon underneath, this is essentially digivolving for a digievolution cost of 1 because you're going to return a level 3. You'll get the inheritable of the Galmon to gain a memory. You digivolve for 2, so now you gain that 1 memory back, making this a little bit of a cheap digievolution. And then it has the nice inheritable of also being able to gain a memory when something is bounced off of it. Next, we have the 4 BT13 Galmon. This guy, Clutch, plays a Thomas if you do not have a Thomas. This is a card that I've thought about cutting down to possibly 3 and maybe throwing in something like this because I am currently running the Nikolai, spoiler alert. So when attacking, gain a memory, and then again, you're bouncing something, which is always nice. The plus 1,000 off of this is helpful in a format in which you're playing against stuff like Royal Knights that get a lot of big things in their security. So making your Mirage a little bit bigger is really nice. Next, double Lanamon. Lanamon's nice being able to get jamming by throwing the level 3s underneath there, so you can throw either of the Galmons and, you know, bounce a level 3 to the hand if you need to, if your opponent goes wide, or you can just try and gain a memory. If you're able to go into like a Lanamon, swing, and then Digivolve into our next card like this, which bounces a level 4 and then gain a memory off of that Galmon effect, off of the EX4 Galmon. So Lanamon helps facilitate plays, helps extend plays at times, also helps sneaky swings for game. Next, running the 4 Mach Gal, has the effect to bounce a level 4 when Digivolving, which again, just bouncing stuff back to the hand, clearing boards is always nice, and gaining memory if you have the right inheritables. And my favorite inheritable of the Mach Galgos, which is why this guy is at 4, when attacking, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in your hand, you're unsuspending. Some of the other Mach Galgos sometimes don't get their effects to resolve or trigger. They always trigger. They don't get to resolve sometimes because, you know, they're a mandatory effect, so sometimes you're adding stuff to your opponent's hand and you're not getting to get that unsuspend off of it because it is like already unsuspended or something like that. So this is nice to be able to just make sure that you're getting that unsuspend, the unsuspend, because when you attack, you know that you're going to be able to unsuspend. Next, I am running 3 of this level 5 Mach Galgo, the BT11 Mach Galgo. So this is one that I was running at 2. I bumped to 3. 1, it gives you blocker. 2, it can get big. So sometimes it catches your opponent off guard when they see a level 4 in raising and they feel comfortable and they think, hey, I can just raise, you know, or go into a level 6 and swing and leave the level 6 rested on board. And the next thing you know, you're raising level 4, Digivolving for 3 into the Mach Galgo. You're getting to, you know, 11K, 13K, depending on how many cards they have in hand. You know, you possibly have another +1 off of the BT13 Miragegaogamon, and now you're swinging over their level 6 with a level 5 from a level 4 and raising. So it kind of catches people off guard sometimes, makes them feel safe. The next thing you know, their guy's gone. Also not bad to have a blocker in your back pocket if you need it. I was running this guy as a 2 of. I cut him down to 1. Again, I just really like this guy. I like what he can do for the deck. This is nice against blocker heavy decks, but it comes up less frequent in my opinion than this. So I don't mind having the 1 of in there for, you know, those situations in which, you know, you're like, oh, I just need a swing for game and my opponent has a blocker or dropped a blocker, they're at 0 security, and then you can just kind of like Digivolve, swing, can't redirect or change my attack target. So that is nice, but all in all, I prefer this Mach Galgo and definitely the bouncing level 4 Mach Galgo over the new BT13 Mach. Next, we're running for level 6s, running the 4 Miragegaogamon. Can't say enough about this card. It's great getting to bounce an opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon, and then if you're not bouncing a level 5 or lower, you're essentially getting a free security check, getting that security back to their hand. In return, you're going to somehow add a card to your opponent's hand, and then you're going to gain memory. One memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. So great to gain memory, great to clear boards, great to clear security, depending on the situation. Next, we're running the 1 of Miragegaogamon from BT13. Has evade, which is nice. When Digivolving, you bounce a Tamer, which I feel like is helpful in this format. And then all turns when a card is returned to an opponent's hand by card effect, you can play a Thomas without paying the cost. So as soon as you Digivolve into it, you're getting a free Thomas play because you're going to bounce that Tamer and you're going to see that effect trigger here, the all turns effect. It hurts sometimes when you're Digivolving for a cost of 4. And if your inheritables are a little wacky and you don't have the right, like, Galgamon and Galmon, and you're not gaining any memory for this, sometimes it kind of just stinks Digivolving for the 4, bouncing, and then not gaining any memory back. It does kind of make up for that, I feel like, a little bit with the evade, so that if your opponent, so it kind of stays on the field, you pass turn Digivolving into it, and your opponent tries to kill it with something, and you're able to evade, get it back to your turn, and then go into your blast mode. So the evade is helpful, but unfortunately, I don't think it's nearly as good as this Mirage. So it's a 1 of right now. Next, we have our 3 burst mode, the Miragegaogamon burst mode. Can't say enough about this card. Staple of the deck. It's swinging for game. Digivolve for 0 on top of a Mirage with its burst Digievolution. by returning a Thomas to hand. When Digivolving, you are returning an opponent's Digimon to hand, so you're bouncing level 6s, level 7s, the stuff that this Mirage cannot bounce, this guy's bouncing. And then you're gaining, like this one memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. So you can really gain a lot of memory if you're Digivolving into this, bouncing a Digimon or a security, and then gaining 1 memory for every 4 in hand, and then Digivolving into the burst mode for free, bouncing a Thomas, and then gaining more memory. It's a lot of memory gain really quick, and you can really see it add up real fast, especially if you have the inheritables to gain more memory. And then when attacking, if your opponent has 9 or more cards in their hand, you're choosing cards randomly until your opponent only has 8 left, and you're bottom decking the other cards, and then you're unsuspending this Digimon. So this guy here, pretty nuts. We'll kind of talk about a little combo and how this card works. That effect is not once per turn. So we'll show you in a little bit kind of what you can do with that effect. So we'll kind of set that to the side. Next, we'll move on to the Tamers. We're running 2 Nikolai. Again, some people right now are cutting these, understandably so. I can kind of see why. But I do like the free mem gain when bouncing something to just suspend it and gain a memory. The jamming effect is also nice because then when you get these level 5s like this and the BT13 level 5, you're able to give this guy jamming. You feel comfortable swinging with this as long as you're not playing some crazy like option heavy deck. You know, you're swinging with this guy. You're going to give him jamming at the start of main, so he checks something, and then you Digivolve into your Miragegaogamon, and now you're bouncing something to your opponent's hand, whether a Digimon or security, and we're unsuspending, and you're getting that effect to gain memory, and the unsuspend is coming from his effect. So it makes you feel a little more comfortable swinging with this guy, which I really like. And then you're getting another memory if you have the Nikolai on field, if you Digivolve into this Mirage and bounce something, or either Mirage because you're bouncing the Tamer. So 2 Nikolai is definitely a card I could definitely see myself cutting down to 1 or none, but as of right now I'm running 2 and I like the 2, so we'll keep running it for now. Next we're running 2 Thomas, 3-drop BT4 Thomas. On play you just draw a card. Main effect if something with Gaogamon attacks. Well, no, sorry. Let me read this correctly. During your main, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, you can suspend this Tamer to unsuspend a card with Gao in its name. So you attack, you have this in hand, you play it, you draw a card, you can suspend this guy, and then unsuspend your Gaomon to get an extra check-in. Some people are running this at 3 right now. Because of me running the Nikolais, I'm running it at 2. Again, if I cut the Nikolais, this is something I can see myself bumping up to 3. Next, we are running 4 of the new BT13 Thomas. Some people, again, are running this at 3. They're running 3 and 3 Thomas. I prefer 4 of this Thomas. I like the memory. I like starting my turn at 3 memory. I like that it's a memory starter. I like the interaction that it has with this guy. So I'm running this as a 4 of. I like them hitting it out of security. I like playing it for free off of my Gaogamon level 4 from this set, the BT13 Gao. I like it. I'm running it at 4. I think it's the best tamer for the deck. Next, our options. We have 2 Sorai. Right now, this card is nice against the Royal Knight matchup. It is also nice against Shine Gray. If you guys don't know what it does, it trashes the top 4 Digi-Evolution cards of one of my opponent's Digimon, and then until the end of my opponent's turn, Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards can't attack. So if somebody Digivolves up on top of a card with no Digi-Evolution cards, they can attack that turn. There's not too much Digivolving in the Royal Knight deck, so you drop this against them and they go wide with their Royal Knights, they're not going to be able to attack. It helps against the Shine matchup because they raise some Marcuses that are Digimon that can't Digivolve. The Marcuses don't have Digi-Evolution sources. They can't Digivolve. They're not attacking. So this really kind of stalls out your opponent for a turn against the Royal Knights and against Shine Gray, and it kind of allows you to essentially turn their game off for a turn, and then when it gets back to you, you kind of get a turn ahead. Big momentum swinger here if you need it. Next, we have 2 Blue Mem Boosts. Not much to say about these. I like gaining memory, and I need to search cards. Sometimes you're missing things, and these help you not miss stuff. 2 1-cost options. We have the Ice Wall because it is Ice Wall, and it is at 1, so you run the 1. Next, we have the Full Moon Meteor Impact. Crazy how cheap this card can get. You play it for 8, bounces a opponent's card to their Digimon to their hand, same as like a Kairos Breath, but then you are gaining 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. So pretty crazy because you can bounce something and then you're gaining that memory. So let's just say your opponent has 8 cards in hand. This is now being played for essentially 6. And let's say you have a Mirage on field. Now you're getting another 2 off the Mirage. Now it's a 4 cost. And you have the Gaogamon and the Gaomon Inheritable. Now it's a 2 cost. So now you're bouncing a level 7 or anything below for 2 cost. It's just wild how cheap this can get so quick. All right, so that is it for the deck profile. We'll talk about the little combo you can do with the Mirage-Gao and the burst mode and the Thomas. So let's say you got 2 Thomases on field, you Digivolve into the burst mode, and you bounce a Thomas back to the hand. You gain all your memory back for all your effects, and then you are swinging. Your opponent has more than 8 cards in hand. You are bottom decking cards randomly until they only have 8 cards in their hand. And then you are unsuspending because you did that effect. And that is not once per turn. That is just its one attacking effect. So next, we will swing. Your opponent has 8 cards in hand. You will tap the Thomas. You will both draw a card. After you both draw a card, when attacking, you will, now that they have 9 cards in their hand, you will randomly select a card for them to bottom deck, putting them back down to 8. And then since you did that, we are going to unsuspend. So now you're getting your second check off. Now from here, if you gained enough memory back off of these guys, you can play a Thomas, swing, tap, put them back to 9 cards. You draw a card, put them back down to 8 with its one attacking, unsuspend, and then swing again. So now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 checks off with your burst mode. You know, if you don't have the second Thomas, you're getting 3 checks off still. So you're swinging through security pretty quickly with a really big body. You're gaining a lot of memory. The deck chews through security so quickly when it gets into the burst mode. The way it can swing games is absolutely insane. So thank you guys for watching. That was our BT13 Miragegaogamon Burst Mode deck profile. If you guys have any questions about the deck or want to make any suggestions, comments, just leave them down below. Let us know what you guys want to see, what other deck profiles you guys would like to see for the BT13 format. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and continue to follow us for more great content. Thank you guys for watching. This is Eric from Team X-Cuse logging off.